Hello, hello. I'm so glad you're here. I am going to put some resources into the chat. And while I'm doing that, I want you to just go ahead and put in the chat, what did you do this weekend? Did you celebrate Mother's Day? If you did, tell me all about it. I'd like to hear about it. So I am adding today's handout. So you can go through that. You can go through it while we're on the live stream today, and you can also go through it, print it out, fill it in. I encourage you to do that afterwards. And I am also going to go ahead and put the lifetime access pass in here because I know you guys are going to want it. This training, not to be immodest, but you're going to want to save this training. This is 3 whole days of diving really, really deep into the things you need to know if you're going to be successful in business. Because the thing that I think most people don't really think about when they're starting a business is they don't think about themselves as a salesperson. But when you have your own business, you are a salesperson. And, it didn't really hit me until my husband said something. So, in my business, which has, gone on for more than 25 years now, I have I've been a service provider. I was when I very first started, I was a freelance graphic designer, writer, and illustrator because that's what I was doing in my day job. And I just took that and started getting gigs online to do that after work. And then I got really high up in a network marketing company that sold naturally based beauty products. And so I was doing like home parties and things. And then I started my eBay store, my Etsy store, and started to get into e-commerce. And I was just talking one time with my husband, and I made a joke about doing all these different things, like how I've done this, I've done this. And he said, "Well, yeah, but you've always been in sales." And that just like made a light bulb go off in my brain because that is the first time I really thought about it that way. But the fact of the matter is, if you own your own business, no matter what you're doing, you're in sales, you're selling yourself. So I also have been a fine artist, and I have my work exhibited around the world in different galleries and museums. And, you're selling yourself as an artist too. And I don't think that we go into that enough when we're getting our education. I know that that was not at all a focus of my education. I have 2 Bachelor of Arts degrees, one in communication arts and with a concentration in illustration, and one in writing with a concentration in creative writing. And neither of those programs where I got my bachelor's degree taught selling at all. And yet, when you're an artist, when you're a writer, you have to get your work published. You have to get your work out there. You've got to get people to hire you. And so I think that it's just something that's kind of lacking in our business education and in our general education for different careers, because if you're going out on your own, if you're not going to work for somebody else, you're going to have to learn how to sell. And that's what we're talking about this whole challenge all week. We're going to be talking about how to make your product or service, whatever you offer, how to make it irresistible to buyers. And today, what we're going to talk about is selling as a service, because I think that this is probably one of the things I see the most in my work with students. So many people say, "Oh, I just I don't ever approach anybody about what I do because it just feels so icky to be a salesperson." And it's upsetting to me because it shouldn't feel that way. And yet, societally, that is what we make it seem. So I have been on a weight loss journey since November. I have lost 10 and a half pounds, and I have been using the Noom app. And they give you like these little quizzes and things, and they give you insight into psychological triggers, things like that. And the other day, one of the little psychological things was about overcoming stress. And one of the stressors that they kept bringing up was being confronted by a salesperson. And it made me so angry because we shouldn't be automatically just lumping everybody who's selling something into this category of something that's to be avoided, something that's predatory, something that isn't what you would want, because it's not true. Now, yes, there are salespeople that don't do it right. And that's what this whole challenge really is, to help you avoid, is being that person that people want to avoid when you're selling. The fact of the matter is you have a business and you have to sell, because if you don't make a pitch for whatever it is that you have, no one's ever going to buy it, right? So, I just want to I just wanted to preface what we're going to be talking about this week and get into it a little bit. And for those of you who don't know, so this is the Irresistible Offer Challenge. We're starting today. Today is day one, selling as a service. We're going to go on until Thursday. And then on Friday, if you join the VIP group, if you get the lifetime access pass, you are going to get a bonus day on pricing, which is another thing that so many people struggle with, knowing how to price what they're selling. And I do just want to put in a plug for the VIP. You're going to want it. This is going to be an incredibly in-depth series of trainings. So today you can see in the chat, you have your handout for today. Look at this, like, it's kind of blurry, but it's long. Like, this is front and back um, text. This is going to be very detailed. Every day is going to be a lot of information, and I don't want you to get overwhelmed trying to watch it all in the 24-hour period that these videos are going to be live. I want you to have the ability to go back and watch it again, watch it at a leisurely pace. And frankly, if you're watching on the replay, you're not getting this handout. This is only for people who are live or people who upgrade to VIP. And you want this handout, I promise. I'm going to go through it with you, but you'll want your own copy. And it's only $37. It's less than $40 to get lifetime access to this training. Plus, you'll get audios of all of the trainings you can take with you. You'll get the extra day on Friday, a whole extra hour with me on how to price your offer. And you'll get my top 10 secret bonus hacks for creating best-selling offers. And as we're getting started, like, I talk with my hands a lot, and I just don't want you to think that someone's been beating me. I don't know if you can see, like, I'm all scratched up and I've got bruises. I have not been beaten. We have been working in the yard. We got an enormous truckload of mulch delivered earlier this week, and we've been shoveling it out all over the yard. And weeding and moving big. We had a whole bunch of trees taken down, and they couldn't get, because we have this stone patio in the back, they couldn't get their big truck that ships up the trees. They couldn't get it back there. So we have all of this wood in our yard, and we're trying to chop it up. And some of it I've been making into raised beds and little seats and tables, like outdoor seats and tables around our fire pit. Because I mean, these are huge, huge logs. So that is what is, don't be alarmed. My daughter came home from college and she was like, "What happened to you?" Um, don't be alarmed. It's just from doing a lot of heavy yard work this week. So, as I mentioned, we're going to learn today how to get over the fear of selling by seeing the service in what you sell. And this is a cliche. People say it all the time, but it is true. It's a cliche for a reason. Selling is a service. When you are selling something, you are serving the person. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Amanda Boggs. I am the founder of Mandaline and of the Online Income Playbook Summit. I have been an online seller and online business owner with serial entrepreneurship paths for the past 25 years, actually a little bit more than 25 years now. I'm a top 4% Etsy seller. I'm a top eBay seller. And I know how to get this done, how to make this work. You can make money online, and it really isn't as hard as you might think that it will be. I know that it gets complicated. I know that there are a lot of gurus out there that are teaching all these different methods. And what I am going to teach you are the fundamentals. So I have been in business through the tech crash, the tech boom and crash back in the early 2000s. Um, I learned to sell on eBay when you had to code to be able to sell on eBay. I had to teach myself coding to be able to sell on eBay. I've gone through the Great Recession. My business has survived all of these things. And that's because of the fundamentals of selling, which is what we're going to go over this week. So, I started my business in 1998. I was pregnant with our oldest son, and we had just bought our first house. And one day, my husband was injured and disabled in an accident at work. So we were very lucky that he survived. We're very thankful that he's still with us. But at the time, we were losing $600 a month he'd been making in overtime. And I didn't get paid maternity leave. So I was going to have to, hey, Isabel, it's good to see you. I was going to have to go back to work immediately after having my son if I didn't find out a way to make some more money. I had to make a lot of money very quickly. I had to replace my salary and I had to replace my husband's overtime that we were missing. And I started with what I already knew. So I already was working at a publishing company as a graphic designer and illustrator. And sometimes I would fill in as an editor since I have a writing degree as well. And so that's just what I started doing. Started freelancing at night with what I knew how to do. And then I started selling on eBay. And after a lot of years, I got a chain of stores and built out my brand. And then it's a crazy kind of thing, but when I transitioned to selling on eBay full time, what I found that was selling, hey Lulu, were dolls. So my business is this very niche business. I started out fixing dolls up and just selling the dolls, just the dolls themselves. That led to teaching people how to repair dolls. It led to a service business where I have a doll hospital. People can send me their dolls and I'll fix them for them and send them back. And providing supplies for people who fix dolls. So things like kits and doll eyes, things like that. And over the years, people started to want to learn not only doll repair, but e-commerce. They wanted to know once they learned this, how could they start their own businesses? So I started to help people in business coaching arena. And that is why I founded my summit. That's why I've started to do these challenges and things, because I really want as many of you as possible to be able to have this lifestyle where you're able to make money doing what you want, when you want, where you have a schedule that fits your life, fits your family. I've been able to be home now with all of my children. That was my overriding goal. Once I had my son, I wanted to be home with him, and I couldn't until he was about 18 months old because, I'm sorry, until he was about 15 months. It took me about 18 months to replace my corporate salary. And then when I started to stay home with him, he was 15 months old. But I felt like I was missing his life. And the only thing I'd ever really wanted to be was a mother, but I felt like I was missing it. And I want you to have that opportunity. Since then, since I started to stay home, I've been home with all three of my children. They have learned entrepreneurship right beside me. I can count pretty much on one hand the number of times I've had to hire a babysitter. And that's what I wanted. There's nothing wrong with getting a nanny if that's what you want, but I wanted my kids with me. And that's what I've been able to do. And that's what I want for you. So if you look in the chat, you'll see the link to this handout for today. And you can go through it with me as we go through it. Again, the link to get the VIP Lifetime Access Pass is also in the chat, because these videos will stay live for 24 hours and then they will go down. So today we're talking about selling as a service. And I know that this is something that is difficult for people to grasp, just because our society makes people who sell things out to be these bad people, these people who are preying on you, these people who are trying to get you to spend money that you don't have, these people who are very pushy. And it doesn't, first of all, have to be that way. But another thing that people don't consider is, if you have your own business of any kind, you are a salesperson. You are selling yourself. You're selling your service. You're selling you as the person who's providing it. Even if you're a product seller, you are selling yourself as the person that people would want to buy that product from. So this is a skill you really need to master. And the mindset you really need to master first is that you are providing a service to people. So I want you to think about what you do is in terms of the result that you are giving that person in their life. They are coming to you because they have a problem that your product or your service can solve, and you are going to show them how to solve it. And let's use the example of doll repair, which is my niche. That might not sound like it's a big service, right? However, I have more than 4,000 positive reviews, and I cannot tell you how many of them say things like, thank you, thank you, thank you. My grandchildren were scared of this doll that I had when I was little, and I loved this doll, and I had to keep it in the attic because my grandkids were scared of it, or my kids were scared of it, and now it's fixed and they can play with it and they love it too. I have people, I have all these pictures from people all over the world, pictures of them as children with their doll, pictures of their parents at their wedding because their doll reminds them of their mom in her wedding dress, pictures of their grandkids, pictures of their children. This is something that they see as valuable, because what am I providing? I'm providing a way to have a family heirloom. I'm providing a way for them to build their family ties, to take something precious to them and make it precious to their children or grandchildren. It's continuity, it's bonding, family bonding. It's deep, right? It's a lot deeper than you would think. And it's the same thing no matter what you sell. So last night, I spent a lot of money, spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars last night. Why did I do that? Well, there were Mother's Day sales going on. I knew that I would be able to get good deals on some things that I needed. And in a couple weeks, we are going to go to the beach with the whole family. So it's kind of like a big reunion. The entire family is going. We're going to spend a week at the beach. And when I was up in the mountains last month, we went swimming. It was kind of unseasonably warm up there. And when I was putting on my swimsuit, I noticed that it is coming unsewn. I swim pretty much every single day all summer, and a lot of that in the pool. And my swimsuit, it was loose, like the threads are all coming out. The chlorine damages it. The fabric was getting thin. It, um, it just wasn't looking very good. I needed a new swimsuit, and I ended up getting two new swimsuits. And also, I was out of my face cream that I use, my eye cream and my day cream. And I want to look nice when I go to the beach. So, what are these people that I bought this stuff from providing to me? They are providing feeling confident in my swimsuit, feeling like I look good, feeling like my swimsuit's not going to come unsewn and fall apart when I'm on the beach, so that then I'm naked on the beach. Some reassurance that's not going to happen. Feeling like I'm going to look good in pictures because I have my face cream and my eye cream, feeling like I'm not going to look real old in the pictures. These are things that are important. They're important to me. This is why I bought what I bought. I bought from Land's End, and I bought from Lancome. And these have been my long time go-to for swimsuits and skincare, because I know that the product that they deliver will be delivered on time. I know that it will be a good quality product. I know that it works. And so that's why I chose those particular people. So I want to go through with you your worksheet. This is the exercise, the service inside what you sell. So if you're having trouble thinking about what you're selling as a service, I want you to go through these prompts. What does your product make possible? Okay, think beyond just the item itself. Ask yourself, what changes for your customer after they buy it? What can they do now that they couldn't do before? What becomes easier? What do they feel more confident about? What problem does this help them solve? What experience does this help them create? What memory, relationship, identity, or feeling does this support? What are they really hoping for when they buy this? And so I want you to go through that and write your answers down. You can write them on this paper, you can write them in a notebook, but I want you to really sit with that and think about what is possible for your customer with what you are selling. And then I want you to think about what happens if they don't solve this problem or fulfill this need. And this is not about fear mongering. This is about understanding why your product matters, because sometimes the cost of buying something isn't practical, it's emotional. And actually, there are quite a few more emotional buyers in the world than there are logical buyers. There are two types of buyers: emotional and logical. So somebody who buys from emotion tends to buy more quickly. They tend to do an impulse purchase. They tend to not need as much information about the details, like what's included in the product. What they want to hear is more about the experience, the what's frustrating for them and that this is going to help with. What have they kept procrastinating on or putting off that this is going to help them do, like get done finally? What are they feeling unsure about? What memory or product or gift isn't finished that they would like to finish? What do they fear missing out on? That FOMO, right? What keeps feeling hard for them? That's your emotional buyer. These are the things you need to speak to. And then you have your logical buyer. Your logical buyer needs more information about what is actually included in the product. How much does it cost? What are they getting? What, problem is it solving, but in a more granular way, not in as much of an emotional way. So you know, what are the five things that are included in this, and exactly what problem is each one of those going to help them solve? That's your logical buyer. And you need to speak in your messaging to both of those buyers. But you have to really get clear before you can get clear on your messaging, which we're going to talk about on day 3 on Wednesday. You really need to get clear on what service your product is going to provide. How are you serving them? And so this, again, is for anything that you're selling. This can be a digital product, it can be a physical product, it can be a service. Um, it can be something your customer gets in the mail, it can be an instant download. But underneath the product, there is a deeper level of support that you're providing with your product. And I want you to ask yourself, how does it help them? How does it save them stress or time or energy? How does it stop confusion or disappointment? How does it help them feel more capable, prepared, thoughtful, creative? How does it support their family, their home, their business, their identity? What do customers thank you for after they buy? Think about that. If you've made some sales, do you get thank you messages afterwards? What do they thank you for? And want you to write all of these down in your notebook or in your handout. And I want you to get really deep into that. So let's do some examples. These are some things that I know that some of you sell. So let's go with digital planners. Digital planners for moms. What is the service underneath this digital planner? Because honestly, you can buy a digital planner anywhere. You can buy a printable planner anywhere. You can buy a hard copy, a like a planner from the store. Why should they get your planner? What is it helping them do? What is the service you're providing? Well, you're specifically selling digital planners for moms. Are you helping them get all this different school schedules lined up? That is huge. Like at one point I had children in my youngest and oldest children are they're both boys and they are 10 years apart. And we have our daughter in the middle. And at one point, each one of my kids was at a different school. My youngest was in preschool, my daughter was in elementary school, and my oldest was in middle school. And each one of these schools is about a half an hour's drive from the other school. And so you can imagine like the amount of just commuting and driving time, but also keeping up with schedules, keeping up with homework, keeping up with supplies. It was a mess. And a planner that can help you get all of that organized so you're not feeling rushed, so you're not feeling scattered, so you're feeling like you have the time to actually spend with each one of your children in what they're needing in their education. That's extremely valuable, extremely valuable. Let's say that you sell, weight loss. Well, what are you selling? You're selling better health for the person. You're selling confidence for the person. You're selling somebody who maybe feels beautiful about themselves again. You're selling somebody who now maybe is enjoying buying all this new fashion because before they felt so frumpy and everything and they didn't really like to shop, and now they enjoy buying new clothes for themselves. You're selling an ability for that person to put themselves first. How many of you have felt like once you had children, had a family, you were the last person that you were taking care of every day? Put that in the chat if that has been you, because I know that's been me for sure. How often does that happen? What if you're selling beautiful dresses? This is another thing that could make a woman feel like she's putting herself first again. This is the kind of thing that you need to sit down with and really think through. What is the result of what you are giving? And really speak into that result, not just speak about the details of your offer, your product, your service, whatever it is that you're selling, but the results, the symptoms that people are having. And I know that you have probably experienced some really bad salesmanship at the hands of people. So I want to go into that a little bit too. This is, you can pretty much write down what not to do. What not to do as a salesperson. And remember, you're a salesperson no matter what. If you have your own business, you are a salesperson because you have to sell yourself. You have to sell your own business. So, how many of you have had the experience of a person who is selling for MLMs or network marketing companies? Usually, this will happen in your personal life. Just raise your hand. I know this has probably happened to you, like the leggings, the essential oils, the jewelry, the home candles, those scented candles. So I have a um a family member who is in at least 10 MLMs, at least. It feels like every week she's in a new one. And she doesn't sell any of this stuff anywhere except on her personal Facebook page. And so when you get on Facebook, you're constantly being bombarded with messages from her and being added to group chats that you didn't ask to be put in, and being put in Facebook pages and Facebook groups you didn't ask to be put in. And, it just constant like harassment, basically. And for all these different things. And it's not comfortable, right? Because the way she's going at it is give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money. And you want to support family members, you want to support small businesses, but that's not the way to get support. That is the way to alienate everybody you have ever met. I do not rely on family and friends. In fact, I do not really sell to them at all. I have very few people who buy from me. I've got a couple family and friends who have bought from me, but it's very rare because that's not where I focus my business. I focus my business on my business pages and my business groups. I don't harass people in my personal life about it. They know what I do. They can come to me if they want their doll fixed, or if they want business coaching. They know what I sell, but I don't go into it a lot because they have the opportunity to opt in to my business pages if that's what they want. And then I'll sell to them all day long. But I'm not going to, without permission, start giving them all of the things that I'm trying to sell. And I think that when we see this kind of stuff, because it is very, very common, I'm sure you've had this experience, many of us have, and we tend to do a couple different things. So the first thing we tend to do is say, and I've been guilty of both of these, so don't feel like you're the only person, like if you've done this. So raise your hand or put in the chat me if you have ever been like, they know what I sell and they'll come to me if they want it. And so I am not going to go out and harass people. I am not going to be this person who's harassing everybody on Facebook. I'm not going to be this person who's sending out emails saying buy this, because they know where my store is and they know if they want to buy, they'll know where I am. Anybody ever done that? I certainly have. Yes. Yes, it took me so long to start my email list because that was the mindset that I had, that they know where my store is. They don't need an email telling them to buy. If they want to buy, they'll come to my store. But I want you to really think about, so I told you a little earlier about how I bought swimsuits and skincare because we're going to go to the beach. We're going to a beach trip. And I bought them from Land's End and Lancome because for many, many years, those have been my go-to places for swimsuits and for skincare. Those are huge corporations. They are huge corporations with very well-known websites. I've been shopping from them for years. I know where to find them. And then I want you to think about your website and your business. Is it on a sales platform? Is it on Shopify? Like, how many visitors are you getting every day? How well have you built out your brand? Are people really going to be able to find you if you don't ever talk about what you sell? Are they? My guess would be probably not, right? Think about all of the emails you get. If it's not from a really big name, like if it's not from Target or Walmart, if you got on eBay and you bought something, or Etsy and you bought something recently, can you remember the name of that shop where you bought it? Do you know exactly where to find it? Could you find it again without a link? I'm betting not, right? So you do have to talk about what you're selling. You don't have to do it in a way that feels icky. Set up a business email, set up a business landing page, set up a business opt-in form for your email list. Then people are giving you permission. They're raising their hand. They want to hear from you. And by not sending out emails, by not talking about what you sell, you aren't serving them anymore. And they raised their hand and they asked you to send them emails. They asked you when they followed your Facebook page or your business page, they asked you to sell to them. They're giving you permission. And not only that, they're trusting you to provide a solution because the reason they are there is that you have something they need. There is something missing in their life that you can provide. So this is an analogy that a coach of mine years ago said, and it still just rings so true. So I don't drink coffee anymore. I have an autoimmune disorder and I had to give up coffee, but I used to be very addicted to caffeine. So let's say that you, like me, really need a cup of coffee. You're tired, you're getting a headache, you need this cup of coffee, you need some energy. And let's say that you went to Starbucks. But when you walked in, imagine that they said to you, "Oh, well, we're not selling coffee today. I'm sorry. We don't want to be pushy. We don't want to bother you. So we only sell on Wednesday and Friday, and the rest of the week we just provide value. We just, try to make you feel good. So I'm sorry you can't have any coffee today, but here's an inspirational quote. We got these little placards printed up, and here, take this inspirational quote and have a great day." You know, of course that would never happen. That would be ridiculous. Of course they're selling every day. Of course you're a business, you're selling every day. It doesn't have to be in a way that's icky. Then there's another type of person who, and this has been me as well. Raise your hand or put me in the chat if this is you. You feel bad about selling. You don't have it in your mind that you're providing a service, but you want to serve people. And so you just provide everything for free. And I did this for so many years. Everything free. I wrote a blog for years and years and years with every kind of doll repair, step by step, totally free. it would link to my stores so they could buy like the products I was using or so they could buy the finished doll. But the information on how to fix it totally gave it away. I used to let people drive to my house. Women would drive to my house from other states and come, and I would sit down and help them fix their dolls for free. I did this for years because it did not occur to me that anybody would pay for it. In my mind, what was valuable was the product I was selling. My information in my brain, I didn't see as valuable. It took me so many years to understand that the knowledge that I've gained over all of these years is so much more valuable than any product I could ever sell because it helps people get the result they want. Nowadays, to work with me one-on-one like that, to come to my house, that's a $10,000 VIP in-person day. That is something you can get from me, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful experience. You can bring your doll or you can bring your business and you can come and we go to the clubhouse, which is lakeside in our neighborhood. It's beautiful. It has gorgeous views. It has a kitchen. We spend the whole day fixing your dolls or setting up your entire sales system for your business, your store, your email, everything. We do it all together. It's a gorgeous experience. I provide refreshments and lunch. We take a little break where we can go enjoy the lake. Beautiful, beautiful day. I used to be providing this experience, this $10,000 experience I used to provide for free because I didn't feel the conviction around the service I was providing when I sold the knowledge. So I really want you to let that sink in. Think about the money that I left on the table doing that. Think about the authority that I left on the table that I didn't take on because I was giving away everything for free. And I still struggle with that. I still do sales calls and I will have my coach review them afterwards and she'll be like, Amanda, stop giving them, stop teaching them everything. Why would they sign up for your course or your one-on-one coaching if they can just get you to give it to them for free on this call? You know, it, it's still something I struggle with. And I understand that it's hard because societally we are not brought up to see what we're doing as being in service to others, but we are in service to others when we sell, when we provide what they need. And, you know, I've talked about doll repair as a service and how I know it doesn't seem like selling somebody a pair of doll eyes is serving them, but then when they send me a picture of their grandchild with their doll that's fixed and their grandchild is enjoying the doll, a lot of times they've taken it to bed with them and they're sleeping with it. You know, that's everything to that person. It's taking something that they loved so much and giving it to this next generation. So you just have to really sit with it and wrap your mind around it. And I also want you to think about what happens in the person's life if they don't ever find you, if they don't ever take this step. And I had a student recently who said, oh, I wouldn't do that because I don't like fear-based marketing. Okay, well, it's not fear-based marketing. It's just reality marketing because the fact of the matter is, if you do not provide the solution to their problem, it's not going to get solved. Nothing is going to change. You know, the saying, if nothing changes, nothing ever changes. And even something as small as, you know, a pair of doll eyes can apply to that. So what happens if their doll is never fixed? Their doll is broken, it's in a box in the attic. It's just going to stay in that box in the attic if it doesn't get fixed. If they don't buy the new eyes for it, if they don't buy the tutorial showing them how to fix it, if they don't buy the stringing kit to get it, its limbs have all fallen off, they don't buy the kit to repair it. It's just going to be broken. It's going to sit in an attic. Someday they'll move maybe to a dementia center or they'll die and their kids will find it. And what are they going to do with it? They're going to throw it in the trash. This thing that they loved so much. That's what's going to happen if that doesn't get fixed. If you're selling weight loss products, what's going to happen if the person doesn't buy them? If they don't get that problem solved? They're going to probably continue to gain weight. I mean, this is something I struggle with. I've been struggling with this my entire adult life, ever since I had my oldest son. That pregnancy like flipped a switch for me. I never struggled with weight before. I've struggled with weight ever since then. And it's because of the autoimmune condition that pregnancy triggered. What would happen if I didn't ever find a way to lose the weight? I would, I would keep getting fatter and fatter. I mean, I used to gain weight like every year. I'd be a little bit heavier than the year before, no matter what, like no matter what exercise, no matter what diet. And I was always on a diet. I'll tell you a story about that. So when our oldest son had been at college about 3 weeks, and I get this text from him, and he says that he's in the clinic at college and he thinks he has diabetes. And I was like, oh, I'm sure it's not just, I'm sure that's not it. I'm sure something else is wrong, calm down. Well, then a little bit later, I get a text from him. His blood sugar's so high, they can't measure it. And they are sending him to the emergency room. So I'm like freaking out. Then I get another text from him. They're putting him in the ICU. And his phone's dying, so he won't, I won't hear from him again. So I'm like, you know, calling around trying to get somebody to watch our dogs, calling my sister who lived, luckily at that time, she's a nurse and she lived about an hour away from where he was. So she got her husband to come get her son from soccer practice. So she drove to the hospital and was with our son. So somebody was there with him. It was terrifying. It was awful. Later, and it did turn out he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. He was in ketoacidosis. His sugar was over 700. They couldn't measure it. It was so high at the clinic at the college, they couldn't measure it. And I went to an appointment with his endocrinologist with him. And what she said was she believed he had had diabetes for a couple years already, but that because I am always trying to lose weight and I was on such a, always had us on such strict diets and we always ate really clean, that we had been inadvertently keeping his blood sugar under control without insulin, which is, a type 1 diabetic, your body cannot produce insulin anymore, which means you can't digest your food. But we had been somehow keeping it under control through very strict dieting. And when he went to college and he was away from home and eating what he wanted, then it fell apart very quickly. So, there are a lot of things in that. Like, if I didn't ever find a way to lose weight, what would go on in my life? I would feel less and less confident. I don't have a lot of clothes because I don't like buying clothes. I don't like shopping for clothes. Having lost weight recently, I've just started to buy myself some clothes again. And it's nice to be able to buy something at the store and feel like I look nice and feel like I look good. If I didn't solve that, I would be getting less and less healthy as the years went on because it's bad for you to be overweight. It's bad for your heart. It's bad for your joints. I was talking at the beginning of this. The reason I'm all bruised up and scratched is because, hey, because I have been working in the yard so much. And that is, my joints are stiff and it's because I am too heavy. And if I weren't addressing that, that would just go on. It would keep getting worse and worse. So that's the thing that you really have to think about. Why somebody needs your product and what is going to happen if they don't get it, if this problem doesn't get solved. And again, it isn't fear-based marketing, it's just reality. If somebody doesn't help them with this, it's never going to change. It's probably going to get worse. It's just the way that it is. And so you really have to embrace that idea that you are not just pushing somebody to give you money, you are helping someone to move from a situation that they don't want to be in to a situation they do want to be in. Move them toward their end goal. That's what you are doing. Whether you're selling a product or a service, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're still moving them from the state they don't want to be in to the state that they want to be in at least some point along that journey. And it can be really anything. It can be, I had a student the other day that I was talking to. Her whole business is helping people organize their photographs and videos and get them onto their computer where they're all organized and together. And I immediately thought, gosh, I need this service. I do not know where, like our oldest son, okay. So if you're Gen X like me, you've been through many, many, many um, iterations of media, right? So my baby pictures are on slides, like actual slides that you have to put into a slideshow to be able to view them. And the videos of me are on reel to reel tapes, like the big wheels of tape that you have to have a projector and you have to thread the film onto it. And then our oldest son, everything is on VHS. And then he has the film, so we have the actual negatives and the film pictures. And he has, because he was the first one, we have like 4 albums just of his first year as a baby. We have all these big photo albums. Well, then our daughter came along. And by that time, we had a digital camera and we had a little tiny video. Well, at the time, it was tiny. It was like this big, this little video camera. And it took little tiny VHS tapes. And so you had to put them in a special frame to put into your VCR to be able to watch them. And then our youngest came along, and that time we had iPhones. So we have all kinds of videos of him, all kinds of pictures of him. But again, nothing printed out. Our daughter, same thing, almost nothing printed out. In fact, the two of them, most of the pictures we have, because we adopted both of them in China, most of the pictures we have of them are disposable cameras. Do you remember those disposable cameras that we mailed to the adoption agency, who mailed them to the orphanage and to the foster mother, and they took the pictures and then gave the disposable camera back for us to get developed. And those are mostly all the printed media we have of them, because it's on all these different things. And I was thinking as I was talking to her, I have no idea. Like, I know somewhere there's little videotapes and the bigger VHS tapes of our son. I know there's somewhere, but I don't know where. They're in an attic or a closet somewhere. I have no idea where. If I wanted to get my hands on them right now, if I wanted to sit down with my kids and make a photo album, I don't know where that stuff is. I would have to look all over for it. I wouldn't know how to get, like, I have no idea how to get VHS onto my computer. No idea how to do that. Like, you don't burn CDs anymore, right? Like, you used to be able to burn it onto a CD, but that's not a thing anymore. How do you get it on there? So, this is a very valuable business that she has. And if you think about the state that someone's in who needs her product, their kid stuff is all over the place. They don't know where it is. Maybe it's getting eaten by mice in an attic somewhere. Who knows? Who knows where those things are? To have it all together, where they can lay their hands on it, where it's easy to find and easy to organize, teaching them how to do that or doing it for them is that, as a service, because I believe that that's another, I believe she does another service where she actually does put it all together for you. Instead of just organizing it, she actually puts it into the book or whatever that you want. You know, that's very valuable. Say, like, my son got married in October, and he and his wife did everything. Like, they didn't want any help. But say that they did. Say, like, our daughter has a very serious boyfriend. She's at the beach with him right now, as a matter of fact. And, she's 21. It's very likely they'll be getting married soon. What if she wants, like, videos from her childhood and all of that? I'm going to have to find that stuff. I'm going to have to put it together. I don't know how to do that. So that is a service. Like, she is providing real service to someone. And just like if you sell, like, let's say that you sell prom dresses and they're plus size, you're providing a service. A girl who might not feel confident enough about herself to go to the prom, if she sees herself in this beautiful dress, then she'll probably go, right? She'll probably want to go. She'll probably want to have that experience. And then later, when her kids ask about her prom, she won't have to say, "Oh, well, I didn't go. I didn't feel like I looked good enough." That's a service. You are serving when you do that. So I want you to put in the chat, and also make sure you look in the chat again for this handout. This is only available during the live and if you get the VIP all access pass. So you want your handout from today. Go ahead and grab that from the chat. But I also would like you to put in the chat, when have you felt less than confident about selling? Have you ever been in the situation where you weren't selling? You didn't pitch, you didn't make an offer, you didn't tell anybody about your business because you just didn't feel like you should be pushy or like you should be salesy, or you felt bad about it. Or maybe you didn't know what to say about what you're doing. I would like to hear, have you had that experience? And I also want you to remember that analogy that my coach talked about, which to me is just the greatest analogy, where let's say you went to Starbucks and you wanted a cup of coffee and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't want to be pushy. We didn't want to bother you. So we only sell coffee on Wednesday and Friday, and we just provide value the rest of the days. So we don't have coffee today, but we have these inspirational quotes for you." You would be like, "What? What are you talking about?" You're in business to provide a service to someone. You have to sell. You have to sell. You are a salesperson. If you have your own business, whether you think of yourself as a salesperson or not, you are a salesperson. And so that's what I really want you to take away from today. I really want you to go through this. I know it's a long handout, but it's really foundational and it's going to be very valuable to you. Um, You don't see the handout in the chat. Okay, I'll email it to you. Um, or send it in DM. So don't worry about it. I'll send it to you because I know you were here live. Um, so yeah, I want you to go through it and I want you to really sit with it and write it down. And I want you to pay attention to the Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, I want you to make sure that you join. You have the link in your email. Get in there because we are going to have a contest. I am going to award a grand prize winner at the end of the week with my six-figure store ebook, which is everything you need to know about selling online in all different platforms and all different formats. It's really valuable book. And I'm going to be asking questions in the Facebook group that you really have to have been paying attention during this, either the live or during the replay recording, to be able to answer. And so you want to make sure you're watching for that because I want you to be able to enter the contest. Again, there's a link to get the VIP lifetime all access pass in the chat. You're going to want that because this is very in-depth. We've been going now for a little bit more than an hour, and it is a lot of information. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I want you to be able to go back through it at your own pace. I want you to have the audio recording so you can listen to it in the car, listen to it while you're doing housework. I want you to have the bonus day on Friday where we're going to discuss pricing and how to price so that your offer is going to sell. And I want you to have all of the handouts without having to come live to get them. They're all going to be in the portal, as well as my top 10 secret bonus hacks for creating bestsellers. Those are already in the portal right now. So go ahead and join that. It's less than $40. It's a no-brainer. It will be $97 after this is over. You want to grab it now while you can, while it's cheap. Because, not to be again immodest, but I think this is something you're going to want to go through again and again. I'm bringing everything to this training. I'm giving a lot away for free. I know I did just talk about not giving everything away for free, but I'm doing it this week. I'm giving you a lot. And I really want you to be able to absorb it because these are the foundational skills you need in order to be successful in your own business. You've got to learn how to sell. You've got to feel good about selling. You've got to start to see what you're doing as a service to other people. And that's what we're going to work on all week this week, is just making that transition and learning these foundations. So today we've talked about selling as a service. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how to create something people actually want. So, you know, it's not always your product or service that's the problem, but sometimes it's your product or service that's the problem. And it often just needs like a little tweak to make it something people really want to buy. So tomorrow we're going to go very deep into figuring out how to validate a product or a service, how to make sure before you put all this energy into it that what you have is something people want. What you have is, a thing they're going to buy. Then on Wednesday, that's day 3, we're going to talk about how to talk about your product or service to make it easy for people to understand and to make it easy for people to want and easy for people to buy. Because many people have great products, they have great services, and what's standing in their way of really being successful is their messaging. The messaging just isn't there. And so that's what we're going to dive very deep into on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, we're going to have the Wake Up to Sales Masterclass. We're going to get your sales ecosystem set up. We're going to talk about all the different pieces that you need and how they work together. I know that Elaine the other day said she gets all the pieces, but she doesn't get how to make them work together. That's what we're going into on Thursday. Each day is live. Each day starts at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Each day there will be a replay that is live for 24 hours. And then, of course, you can upgrade to get the VIP Lifetime Access Pass and watch these forever. On Friday, if you are in the VIP group, we are going to go into pricing. And I think that that is a really important day because a lot of people get so hung up on pricing that I see them not even start a lot of the time because they just can't. They think that what they're trying to sell is too much or they're pricing way too little. Like, has anybody ever done that? Like priced so far below the value? I've certainly done that, like big time. I was selling this course last year, and I'm sorry if you didn't get it, like if you didn't buy it before I took it down because it was $100 and it went on sale. Like it had a funnel that had a little 5 minute sale where you could get it for 88 if you bought it, in 5 minutes. And it taught everything, like literally everything. I put so much into that course. If you have that course, you honestly do not need anything else. Like you can start any kind of business with that course. It gives you every single piece. Like I was looking at it earlier this year and I was looking at all of the components that it had and I was just like, what is wrong with me? Like why am I selling this for so little money? It's it's so in depth and it wasn't long, but it was very detailed and very organized and it just taught you everything you needed. And it was just like, I don't know why I was selling it so low. I guess because it was my first, I've only been in the the business coaching arena for a couple years now. I only have a few people who, I've got thousands and thousands of testimonials about my doll business, but I only have a couple about people who started their own businesses with me. And there are successful people. As a matter of fact, most of the people who work with me are making their first sales within a week, like generally less than a week. Laura, one of my students, came to me because she already had built a business. She had left her job in fashion. She was in the fashion industry and she really loved fashion. But when she had her son, just like me, she wanted to be home with her son. And she left that job and built a business as a daycare provider for the state. So it's a big thing. Like you have to do all this stuff to your house. You have to have, there are all these regulations. Like you have to have lights in certain places and stuff. You have to make sure that the dwelling is standardized. But she went through all of that and she got a contract with the state to take children that she would watch. And so she was home with her son, which is what she wanted. And she was able to make money, which is what she wanted, but she was missing the fashion component. She was missing that thing that she really liked to do. And she also wanted to have some, childcare is not like an easy job, right? It's hands-on, especially multiple children. And she wanted to be able to have some more automated income coming in. I won't really say passive because you do have to put some work in, but sorry, I'm losing my voice. She wanted a little bit more automated income. So what we ended up doing with her, hey Deborah, um, what we ended up doing with her was we got her on eBay and she decided she was going to sell children's fashion on eBay. So she had her two passions, children and fashion, and um, she had her first sale 6 days after we opened her shop. 6 days, less than a week, she was shipping her first order. And I still can remember what it was because it was so exciting. She was the first person that I ever helped start their business. It was a pair of kids' Nike slides. And by this time, she had more children, and her oldest was older, and these were slides he'd outgrown. and she sold them in less than a week. And it was very exciting. And now she's got that business built up. Her youngest just actually started kindergarten, so she could either shut down her daycare business if she wanted and go full time with eBay, or she could have both still going on. So it was so amazing to give her that opportunity, that lifestyle that she wanted. Another student of mine, her name is Melissa. She she started with me with doll repair. She bought a kit to restring a doll. So sorry, I'm losing my voice. Older dolls, they're held together with these rubber bands and they rot over time, and the doll's arms and legs and head fall off. So then you've just got this box of like pieces of dolls. And she bought a kit that had the instructions and the supplies to restring dolls. So she taught herself from the kit how to restring a doll. And then she bought, I have a book called Doll University that teaches you all kinds of general doll repair, as well as teaches you how to set up a business in doll repair. Again, another thing that I sell very, very cheap that teaches you pretty much everything you need to know. If you have that book, you really don't need anything else. You can just follow it and start your own business. And that is what she did. She started fixing dolls, and she was in a lot of different Facebook groups. And so she just started like talking about this in Facebook groups. And within a very short amount of time, like I don't even think it was a month after she got her book, and it's a pretty big book. Like she not only had clients, but they were referring other clients. She had so many referrals that she ended up saying, okay, I am only doing this one thing. I am only restringing Madame Alexander dolls. That's what I want to do. And she's been able to have her business be successful doing this one repair, one thing, because she had so much demand. She had so many people right away wanting it done. And then she had so many people who she worked with referring their friends to her. And that was like a huge win and very exciting. But I don't have a lot of sales like that. So I guess that's why I was charging so little for that course. Now that course has been taken down, and I'm not going to sell to you today, but on Thursday, I am going to open up an offer for a new course that's going to be a beta program. And I'll talk about it more on Thursday, but it's very exciting. It will cost, I'm sorry to say, more than $88, but it's going to be great. It's going to be exactly what you need. So Deborah, I know that you just came in the chat. There is today's handout, and you can go ahead and grab that from the chat. It's only for people who came live. And I want you to be able to go ahead and download that, make sure that you get it. And again, in the chat, you can get your VIP lifetime access pass, which has the bonus day on Friday where we're going to go into pricing so that you aren't selling yourself so cheap like I was. So you're not just giving everything away for nothing. And so that you're able to feel good about your price. So you're able to feel like you're not charging too much or too little, it's going to sell. There's a joke in the reselling world. So resellers are people that buy products marked down and then they sell them higher, or they buy vintage products and sell them for more money than they paid. And in the reseller world, there's always this, gosh, if I listed something, nobody can see the link. Okay, let me see. I'm going to drop it again. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why it's not showing up. It's showing up on my end. All right. Can you see it now? I just pasted it in there. It's a Google Doc. Can you see that, Deborah? But anyway, what I was saying was, there's always this feeling like if you list something and it sells 5 minutes later, then you think, oh my gosh, I priced that too low. I should have priced it a little higher. And then other people are like, no, that means you priced it exactly right. You're not in business to hold on to inventory. You're in business to sell inventory, right? If you're reselling, you're in business to turn this thing that you bought to flip it and get more money for it, like get more than you paid for it. So that's really what we want is for you to hit the sweet spot, to feel like you know that sweet spot for pricing. And as well, and Deborah, tell me, can you see the VIP access pass link in the chat? Because I can put that in there too if you don't see it. Um, so that's on Friday. That's VIP only that day. And you'll also get lifetime access to these videos. You'll get audio recordings of all of the trainings. You'll get the top 10 secret bonus hacks to create bestsellers. And you'll get all of these handouts that are only for people who attend live. So we are quite a bit past our hour now. Does anybody have any questions for me today? I want to make sure that you're here live, you're here with me. I want you to take advantage of it and ask me if you have anything you want to talk about, any questions I can help you with today. Go ahead and put those in the chat and or unmute and ask me. And today our subject has been selling as a service. So if there's anything related to that that you need help with, I'm here and I'm happy to answer. And if not, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye because we are past our time today. So you will get in your email, you will get a link to watch this replay. And I know that neither one of you got to see the very beginning, so you can go ahead and watch it. It will also be in the Facebook group that will be up. These replays will be up for 24 hours each day. And then the next day we will start the new one, and those will come down. So it has been wonderful to talk to you today. Thank you so much for being here with me live. I appreciate it. I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you the rest of this week. I hope you're able to make it. Oh, you're very welcome, Deborah. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.